Welcome back everyone to Let's Play Advanced Tactics Gold, episode number 3. This is a bit of a slower start, doing the one city start. If you're interested in, I'm going to try to push on a little bit faster, but I'm also trying to explain mechanics. I'll probably title the episode where we actually go into our first battle as something special, so feel free to wait for that if that's all you're interested in, is the combat. Now as for this episode, I think there's a few other things we want to do. Actually, I want to create my new headquarters. I think I talked about the fact that the theater is eventually going to supply 3 armies. First Army, Second Army, and Third Army. Well, we're actually going to make this turn First Army. Now, we do have already a few generals that I created before. This is based on some supporter recommendations or suggestions. And the best of these 3 is Katsuragi-san. So I'm going to go ahead and appoint him to my first one. I kind of butchered the description thing. I didn't realize that would automatically be filled in for me. So we'll look at this the whole game, but we don't really care about the description anyway. So the first thing you need to do with a headquarters is, if you want, well, we don't have anybody subordinate to him. First thing I'm going to do is start giving him some people. Well, first of all, let's actually change his color a bit. I'm going to give him this really light blue. It's like a blue-gray, a white blue-gray. And I'm going to start assigning a lot of people to him. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want, as soon as possible, to get people under his control. Although there will be an exception, because this train is going to go back to purple. So we're going to leave this unit purple for a while. But I want them to recover the readiness. You can see it's a 50% penalty to take the, it's a 50% penalty to readiness to transfer headquarters. So we're going to do that right away so that we have that recovered by the time we go into war. I think I'll even start doing some of these guys. You guys move at 30 on the road anyway, right? Yeah. I think that 30 is exactly what they'll be at after this. And after looking at production one more time, we see that I have supply riflemen, supply staff, and supply riflemen, besides political points. I want to actually switch over Choshi to give its production to this headquarters, the new one, because it's doing staff. And it'll be nice to just put staff immediately in, rather than having to actually transfer staff in from my main headquarters. We also have a lot of armored cars and riflemen here, and I think we're also going to, just trying to see if there's any empty divisions. There's not, but I think we're also going to go ahead and actually, oh good, I can showcase this. So first I'm going to transfer 4 armored cars, and we'll just transfer 20 rifles. That's the most we can carry. And this group is going to move here. Now, it's already down to 75% because they just transferred divisions within a headquarters. It's a 50% penalty for transferring headquarters. So we were at 75, we dropped that down to half, which is now 38. I guess readiness always rounds down. Now, if we had just created a new division, we will create a new formation here. If we had given this as the headquarters, the light blue one, I don't really want to do this, but I guess for the sake of example we can, because it won't cost us too much in the very beginning. Now if we transfer 4 armored cars and a rifle, we'll see that these guys are down to 25% instead of 38. So 25 versus 38. It's weird because the game is kind of penalizing you for doing 2 steps at the same time, which kind of means that they want you to take all the individual steps. They're actually penalizing, they're making the game harder for you. It's actually better to not do as, it's not as good gameplay-wise to do less steps. So if you actually do new division under the old headquarters, then switch the unit, you end up with more readiness. So, and I'm okay to show this once, and we'll move this person going to move them here. And that's because next turn I can just move this rifleman 1 hex here, combine them. And then they're already going to be pretty low on readiness. But from there they can move as far as they can go. Okay, I think that's all I want to do for this turn then. Yeah. We still have 4 armored cars, but those are the ones that are going to start to populate the second armored recon. So we'll end the turn. Okay, the AI got very close but did not actually take any of the cities. We actually took Yuanping. Yuanping's production is going to start off with supply, political points, and rifles. This is typical. Now, if you remember, I said that did I already say this? Cities cities that are not of our people type. So we are Japanese. This is, so you can see here, Japanese. This is Chinese, a Chinese city. So this one we cannot actually get real production out of. The best we can do is take political points, and even then, it's at a 2 times greater cost. But that's still not terrible. I mean, it's still something. So what we're going to do is just set Yuanping to produce 100% political points. What we'll see is, yes, these supply and rifle are here. We're not even supposed to be able to pick them. This is just like a leftover from the game creation, basically. But even if we did 100% for either of these, it'll still produce 0, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just put all of that into 89. Oh, okay, good. So we move here still. That's good. I want one to go down here and try to explore Changxi. And you are going to go all the way over here. I wanted to finish the thought somewhere, but I forgot what it was. With... Oh yeah, the production, but I really don't remember. So we got plenty of trains that can move home this turn. This engineer is going to move towards this road. Okay, so this is the situation. They're at 77. This guy's going to become at 70. We'll transfer him in. Unfortunately, it is going to transfer. It's going to do a 75% hit of their readiness because they are transferring both headquarters and divisions at the same time. So now we can see readiness is down to 30. But that doesn't impact them this turn, it impacts them next turn. So next turn they'll be a bit slow to move, but that's okay. You guys are going to move. So it's at 80 if you do it correctly, which is 2 separate swaps. Well, the most correct way would be use the table of organization and equipment to have all that done for you. Now, another thing I want to point out is using the TOE and using the unit models. First of all, the most compelling reason, in my opinion, there's gameplay reasons, but the most compelling reason is just to get the NATO counters. That's the best part, is having NATO counters all around. And there's some mods which that actually change these things to generic images to NATO counters for you, and that's pretty cool. But I like having the enemy; it's always going to appear as these little sprites. So I probably should have just used that mod so that the enemy has NATO counters too. But since I don't have that, we'll be transferring our divisions into NATO counters just by using the TOE system. And eventually everybody will be part of a TOE, except for very few special units. But let's get this guy to move north, this guy to move here. So what I want to show you is that when you use the TOE, besides that, and besides the fact that these are out of order, I always like to have my armored cars first. It did it for us. Remember, last turn this was empty. At the beginning of this turn, or really it seems like almost at the end of last turn, the headquarters, Supreme Headquarters, borrowed logistics from the future, from this turn. Actually, you can kind of think of it as at the very beginning of this turn, before AP was calculated, before action points were calculated, the headquarters moved in all these units, and because it's using the TOE system to move them, this transfer does not incur a penalty to readiness. Because these guys start at 100% readiness then, when action points were divvied up, they got 100%. So if we had done this ourselves this turn, obviously transferring forces back and forth, you always are left with the force at 0 AP. So, I mean transferring forces strategically. Drops them down to 0 AP. So you can't like strategically deploy an engineer and then have them move on the same turn. But this actually allows us to kind of do that. We set up last turn that we want this unit to be here. And with the logistics at the very beginning of this turn, this headquarters was able to deliver whatever it could, which was not the whole thing, because, yeah, we're down to no rail capacity left. But it was able to deliver something to Sendai, to this 2nd Armored Recon. And that's pretty nice. And now that we're here, we can probably get this one to be the 3rd Armored Recon. I'll wait for this guy because, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He is, I think, close enough to do. When units, see, this doesn't have, this headquarters doesn't have a truck or trains or anything. But it can still manipulate, like transfer units to and from its subordinate divisions using their action points at the beginning. Like, even though they don't, you start the turn with 0 action points and then you're given action points. But this headquarters is actually able to deploy units at the beginning at half their normal cost. And what I mean by that is, see, this unit is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Either 5 or 6 hexes away, depending on if we want to count this as enemy territory or not. Let's say that it is. So it's 6 hexes away. Infantry can only usually move 3. Well, this is infantry with horse, but if I had just normal infantry by itself, it could usually only move 3. So we can't get there, right? Well, no. Actually, because they move at half cost when they're being deployed via the table of organization and equipment. So with the tow units, the units with models, can receive reinforcements from a otherwise naked headquarters that doesn't have logistics to deploy them. It can do it at double the distance. So hopefully I didn't beat that horse too much. Let's beat this horse and get her going. Probably that's good. And I'm gearing up here. We see 20, 10, and 20. So I'm gearing up for one rifleman division there. Full strength rifleman division or infantry division, because I believe we do have infantry, which right now is 50 riflemen. Eventually we will use research to get machine guns, and that'll change that. I know this guy wants to build this raw up. We're already at a 2-to-1 ratio of what we're getting on income versus what we're spending. Now our spending is only going to continue to go up. We are never not going to have this minus 80 out of this factory until we go to light tanks, but I think they're minus 20 per. So even though we're building less from 8 to 4, they cost more from 10 to 20. So it comes down to 80 again. And then we're going to build other factories, like a gun factory for artillery. So this cost is going to go up more. So we're going to have to continue to upgrade some raws. But I actually want to transfer over to oil soon, because you can see that we started the game with 5,000 and we're barely hovering above 7,000. We're already starting to equalize, and in the same way that our raw cost is going to only go up, our oil cost is actually going up, because every turn we get 8 new armored cars, and those cost oil to move. So every turn we have 8 more armored cars we need to move, which is 8 more units using oil than 8 more units using oil more than they were last turn. More oil than... Okay, whatever. I can't speak English, apparently, but you get the idea. Whew. Okay, so what else do we want to do? We probably don't have... I think I know what we're going to do, actually. Let's transfer this train here. And transfer this train as well. We have 2 divisions. Let's get another set of armored cars. 20 were riflemen. And we switched them first, their headquarters. Whoops. It always happens that the wrong unit shows up here after you transfer. Okay, now we have this one. We can move here. And now we're also going to do the transfer of headquarters. The sooner the better, basically, I think. So, actually, I will make this one part of the armored recon as well, because what they are missing is infantry. And this one is going to have extra infantry, 4. They're going to need 10 more, so they'll get 4 from here, and then the first army, might as well just call this First Army. First Army HQ. The First Army is going to request that from Supreme Headquarters. So we should see them, this First Army should start requiring riflemen. And sometimes I build blank divisions with demands for infantry or armored cars or something, just to force that to trickle down to the local headquarters. Now you can also do this by adding a tow for a headquarters, but I'm not going to do that because it's a little more micromanagey. And we're saying that about a game which already requires a lot of micromanagement, but still. Okay, so I already built this. Let's move this unit forward. We'll build a road that way. Strategically deploy this here because it's just a blank division. So we have 2 blank cards there. I think we'll switch this guy's headquarters. And actually, I'm going to do something weird. I'm going to transfer all the riflemen to the HQ just because I don't want my armored car to be second in the list. I want it to be first in the list. So armored car, rifle, armored car, rifle. That's the way I prefer it. So because it didn't go that way, I'm bothered enough that I'm going to switch it. And it'll be free to come back in. The readiness is very low right now, but the transferring because of the tow is for free. As we saw at the beginning of this turn, this armored car group started with 100% readiness, 100% AP because the tow did the transfer, so it doesn't incur any readiness. Okay, so we're talking a lot. How much time have we gone? 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and make some production adjustments. I think political points there is good. Supply and riflemen there is good. That looks good. This one is going to swap to 50-50 now. And you were at zeros last time, so now you're 40-10-50 is correct, and you're done. Okay, so I don't think we have any other more production to do. We do have a bit of political points left, but I think I want to save up for gun factory and artillery. That might be even more important than machine guns. Especially because the earlier we get that gun factory, it's like adding free production per turn, so it's a higher priority. The machine guns, right now, the production that we could be using for machine guns are still going to political points, supply, riflemen, things which are important. But the gun factory just gives us 8,000 free points, so it's more important to start that first. So, at least so I'll tell myself. So. Okay, so what else do we have this turn? Is that maybe that's it. Oil. Okay, we didn't do too bad on oil because we only had to move. Well, no, I mean we did move some people. We're back. Never mind. We're back down to exactly where we were at the end of last turn. So we're not gaining any oil, and we're creating more units which will spend oil, which means in theory our oil production, our net oil reserves will be decreasing unless we do something quick. So yeah, we're gonna have to upgrade some oil very quickly here. Probably we build this road, and then this guy will start upgrading these oils. Might have to do that even before we get a gun factory. It's always a question. How do you do these? In what order? Okay, so anything else we want to do? I think we're okay. Light blue. Is everyone here light blue? Everyone, that one's purple, but that's intentional. Light blue, purple intentionally. I think we're okay. That was pretty good. That was a quick turn. The 4 trains is really going to help with our logistics too. So, okay, let's end the turn. See where they go. Okay, they did cross into... They took the Yutuan? Yeah. Okay, let's see how are we doing here. We're backed up to 100%, which is good. I'm going to inch this one step at a time. Okay, there we go. 36 rifle, 8 militia. Recon of 50 is pretty good. That might be more or less what they have. There's some uncertainty built into our... This is just a scouting report, so it's not necessarily 100% right. I guess what we should do is do a quick comparison of militia with riflemen. Mainly they're just going to be better like, not better, worse in every way, but better on the defensive. So I think they cost 2/3 or something like that. They have the same amount of hit points. They do 3/4 the amount of attack on defense for both armor and infantry, but they do less than half, or half I guess exactly, but rounded down, for infantry and armor, which are the two I'm most concerned with if they're attacking. So they're really bad on the attack, although they do also still absorb damage because HP of 100. So I can kind of imagine an interesting division where you have like 40 militia and 10 machine gun. I mean, it's kind of like you have your human shields and then your very powerful units. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting. It'd be a very good defensive force, I think. Anyways, this is the Chinese special unit, so we'll be dealing a lot with this. The bad news for them is it does take up the same amount of I forget, where is it? Space. It takes up the same frontage. That's what I'm looking for. Where is it? One of these things is the amount of space it takes up. Theater, carry capacity, move, hide, ratio. Oh, here's the staff points. It takes 0? No, that can't be right. Oh, that's the number of staff points it provides. There is a frontage, though. I forget what it's called. Is it just the weight? Like, for example, I think armored cars are 5. So one armored car being brought into an attack takes 5 spots on the front. Stack points. Okay, stack points. I was looking at it, but I was just glossing over it. So stack points is what I was looking at. They do, I think, take stack points. Yeah, 1 stack point. So they're not efficient from a stack point perspective, and that is really important on the attack. So the militia are really, really bad on the attack. All right, we have this one who is starting to get some of his riflemen back. We could put the second down here to help support. Let's get this guy to go to... How far can you guys go? I guess this one is the one. You can only go to Yongping. Okay, so let's move everyone to Yongping. And what we're going to do is create a new division. I don't know why I did that. I have blink cards here, but we're going to get the train to move into this blink thing, because readiness for the train no longer really concerns us. And I want the readiness of the unit that that had the train with it. I don't want to decrease this unit's readiness by having him transfer out of the division. So the train is the one that transfers out. And now the train can start moving back home. In fact, we have another one can almost get home. Okay, good. And all the armor cars, we'll move them up in a second. Let's finish with this first. Now, what I'm going to do is first switch this guy's readiness over. He's going to lose readiness, but switch him over to the blue, first army. He loses a lot of readiness, but I'm going to try to make that up by transferring my riflemen who are already in this headquarters to this new unit. So they're only going to take the 25% penalty hit rather than the 50% penalty hit, because they're only switching between 2 divisions in the same headquarters, which is not so costly. Same with the 10. So what we'll find here is the readiness was at 50 when we swapped them, but with the addition of these other units at 75, we should be somewhere between somewhere between 50 and 75, probably closer to 65, because we had 30 troops moving in and 20 troops. Yeah, so 64, exactly. Probably some rounding down happened, but we had more troops at 75 than we did at 50, because 30 were at 75 and 20 were at 50. Okay, the math makes sense, I'm sure. I don't need to beat a dead horse. Speaking of horses, let's get this transfer to go on. Now we have yet another blank unit card. Put that one there. And these horses, they can't move anywhere this turn anyway, but after this, we'll get them to move back and maybe into this headquarters, maybe all the way home. I don't know where I'll use my horsemen. I could move them home so that they can be used to transfer units, but yeah, we'll have to see if that's what I want to do or not. Now this unit is also stocking up on supplies because of its influx of not just staff but supply from Choshi. But normally the way I like to do this, and I might as well just transfer this back. I don't like this because it's not the way it would happen in real life. In real life, everything would flow through the theater headquarters, and then they would distribute supply and staff and all that. So, I mean, I guess you could probably abstract this as like this headquarters is pulling staff people he already knows from back home or whatever. But probably all that stuff would normally go through the theater headquarters. Now we have these two units, which are not complete. This one's fully staffed, so we can move this one as far forward as we want. And open plains is a perfect place for armored cars. What I think I'm going to do is have the 1st and 2nd armored recon in the south, and I'm going to have the 3rd and 4th in the north. That seems to make sense to me. And this is open plains. It's the best place for our armored cars to be fighting. Okay, so now you can start moving closer over here as well. Let's just make sure you're going to be in supply. Yeah, you will. Move there. I don't know if we actually need to take this raw. Maybe just to propagate our... Okay, it's really bad supply up here. Let's get this one to move 1. Can you do another? You can. Oh, I'm stupid. No! Undo! So the problem is that this just took 40 engineering points that we didn't need to spend on that. There's a trick, so let's see if I can build another road. I can't. So here, it says down here, 20 engineering points, 20 EP, 20x raw, and AP cost equals 20. In this forest, we can't do it because we don't have enough EP, engineering points. It costs 40 EP and 20 action points. It also costs still the 20 raw, but the reason why it's different engineering points is because the road doesn't care where you're building it from, it only cares where you're building it to. You can take advantage of this by actually moving into the more expensive hex, in this case the swamp, and then building the road backwards here, which is what I should have done. It's just a small min-max efficiency thing. So we could build another road here. Then they're probably done with road building for a bit. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's build the road here. And I'll probably build it like 1, 2 right here. Up and down again. We've done enough engineering points, so we'll gain 40 engineering points a turn. We can get, boom, boom on the next turn. How did that affect supply? Oh, yeah. So let's look at supply from this guy. This would be 71, 73. How does it look for him? 79, 80. So it's 20 to move into plains, and this is plains. So actually we can move here and not incur a penalty. What I'm trying to do is use the horse to go 1, 2, 3 and be back in supply across this stream where there's no way. So essentially if we move a little bit forward here, we could do this. Now we could actually move 1 more forward and still be in supply, barely. But can we on the next turn somehow get back into supply from the top? It's only 5 riflemen. Okay, I'm going to do the little adventure just to see if it works. It saves him a little bit of time. It pushes our zone of control further, so it might not be worth it, but we'll do it anyway. Okay, so let's move him forward. And we'll also get him to deploy, to take on the model. You move forward as well. So we'll build that road next turn, and then this might even be in supply. I don't even know. We will want to build... Oh, yeah, so this guy will get to the oil as well. And then we'll have our hexagon, circle, whatever, complete. Okay, let's get to what we want to build this turn. We're actually building a fair amount of riflemen. I'm pretty happy about that, and we're going to need that. So let's see. You guys are going to switch to the 20, 30, 50. 20, 30, 50. Okay. There was a trick at some point where you could get an extra political point. I think it was here. Oh, well, actually, this is legit. Do we need more staff from Choshi? Probably not. Let's do 6 political points. Let's see, what is it here? 2. So 13, let's see. Let's do the math here. 7,200. I think this is a benefit as well, like a place where you can get an advantage. 7,200 divided by, well, sorry, not divided by 1. 7,200 times 0.9 is 6,480. So 480 is still equivalent to 6,500. So we get 20 free political points for doing this. Yes, I am that interested in getting political points. We're going to do it. Okay, good. We'll do this as well. And these guys are to their usual. Was there any benefit to the 4,800? Not there for sure. Absolutely not. Okay, good. So 50 and 50 for the 4,800 case, which is for both of these as well. But the next turn, this Okayama will follow the same pattern as Choshi. Choshi will follow the same pattern as Morioka. And yeah, and then Morioka will be 100% as of next turn. She'll be at her full production. So whatever we set up, we can just leave indefinitely. And that's, you know, what you prefer, not to have to micromanage all this stuff to squeak out a little bit of extra production. Okay, so let me see the time. We're looking at 32 minutes. Good. I think we made it pretty quickly through a bunch of. I mean, we're now encountering the enemy. I mean, if they want, and they could attack. The riflemen are not going to be amazing at attacking my armor. Their infantry is not going to be good against my infantry, but like 60, I think. Let's just do the armored car. Yeah, so they'll have a 60 attack versus 1,200 defense. But they have enough that they might be able to kill some. I don't know. Their readiness is 100. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit scary. It's quite possible that unit will attack. The militia won't do much, but yeah. I mean, I have 4 times 5 stack points here. 16 times 1 stack points there. 36 stack points, and they have 48. So that, just judging by stack points, if you want to just do a very, very, very rough approximation, stack points should probably be like 3-1 to win. It's very situational, but they definitely don't have that. So yeah, I'd still give us the advantage. Okay, what else? As I said, I want to start drawing infantry and armored cars and all that into this headquarters instead of having to move them all the time. So I'm going to create a new, let's see, template. I can actually break off 2 groups of armored cars carrying 20 riflemen each, and they get to the front. In which case, I want this one to be a rifleman, an infantry. And even though I'm gonna take this rifleman out, I believe that the order for, you know, moving units in the tow to the models, to the blank divisions, is you produce them first and then they get pushed. They can get immediately pushed. I think your production on the same turn, at the end of this turn, can immediately be shoved into the new divisions. We'll find out. So we'll just do this as a test. Okay, but otherwise, let's transfer some more armored cars to the front and swap there. Yeah, we also, how much logistics do we have left? We have 910, which is not a lot. We get what, like 3 staff moved for that? Not a lot. 4, okay. Well, let's move these 4 because I think it's still important to do. Yeah, our HQ proximity is 60%. So we may even want to fight a little further back just so we can get the benefit of our headquarters, which is, otherwise it's going to provide some pretty substantial combat and morale bonuses if we can use it. So yeah, then we transfer to this, another 4. We could transfer staff. I mean, it'd be weird to do, but it's possible. No, I think next turn we won't have to worry about armored cars as much because, well, I'm actually not sure about that. But let's do this the normal way. Okay, good. Move, headquarters. And what's your percentage? 97. Ah, we're doing okay. So as long as, well, Choshi's not going to continue to produce staff. So next turn we'll just have to manually move in a bunch of staff. Hopefully that happens. I mean, we're at 97% for the end of this turn anyway, which I think this is the end of our turn. What I'll do is go ahead and call this to a close here, and I can look at any other changes we might want to make off camera. But everything looks good as I see it, and next turn should be it. We should be at war. I mean, we may be able to take advantage of some overextended enemies, maybe especially in this flat area northeast of Yutian. Since we pushed them back here, I wanted to kind of control this mountain forest border. If they get into that mountain, it's going to be very hard to dislodge them. I can just do that and try to fight in the forest. Submachine guns will be useful here if we want to do that. But I was hoping to actually occupy this bulge. And then, I mean, the defense plan I had in mind was the stream, cutting across somewhere here, maybe even building a fort if we were able to sustain that, to further sustain it. Then holding in the mountain pass, we'd have to build a road a little bit because supply is not going to be very good over there. Like, it's okay. Well, let me do it here. It's okay right now, but this is 61. And I think it's 50 to move into this. Maybe it's just 40. 50? Yeah, I think it's 50. So it'd be prohibitive. We'd have to move one road here, clink clink, and then we'd, I mean, 2 X's away from supply sources, supply road. I'm sure that would be fine. So anyway, a lot of things I'm going to think about off camera, and then I'll get back to you before we end our turn. We'll do one little final review. But until then, thanks for watching this episode, and I'm excited to see how things turn out in the next. Until then, take care.